All right, so in the last video, we talked about my retrospective revision timetable method for incorporating spaced repetition into my life. But a few weeks ago, I was chatting to my friend Simon Clark. We were doing a collab video on YouTube, and he mentioned his method of doing this, which is called the Spaced Repetition Journal or Spaced Repetition Diary. And we included this in a YouTube video, but I will include the uncut conversation between me and Simon in this course now. So you can see us discussing this concept of the Spaced Repetition Diary, and you'll hear Simon explaining how this method works. I get that some people like the idea of kind of pre-deciding what they're going to study because, I mean, it kind of makes sense. Then on a given day, you don't really have to think about it. You can just execute on the plan that you've already made. And I think Simon's method is a good way of building a revision timetable, but based on kind of the principle of spaced repetition rather than kind of doing it randomly like I used to do when I was in school. So here is now me and Simon talking about his spaced repetition diary.
If I could travel back in time and slap two words into 10-year-old Simon's head, they would be spaced repetition. I cannot stress enough how important this technique is. To give you an example, when I was doing my third year exams at Oxford, it was the best academic performance of my academic career. It did really, really well. I think the reason for it was I used this technique where I would, on a given day, if I studied a particular subject, write in a paper diary, I did on, say, the 1st of May, atomic physics, looking at a particular subtopic. I'd then go forward a day and write down that topic again, go forward a week, write that topic, go forward a month and write that topic. And then as you went through your revision, you gradually populated this diary with the revision that you needed to go back and look at on a given day. So you get to say, I don't know, May 14th, and you would say, right, well, I now need to revise this part of atomic physics, this part of general relativity, this part of subatomic physics, and you would have a ready-made checklist of stuff to go over again, as well as the stuff that you had to look forward to in your revision plan. And it meant that I covered everything several times at these increasing intervals, and it just stayed in my head so much better. But it was the ease at which I could rock up to the library, open up my diary and say, right, what's today? It's the 14th of May. Okay, I've got these 5 topics to do first. Let's go. And it just made life so much easier. And I did so much better because of it.
All right, so that was Simon Clark's prospective spaced repetition diary / journal thing. I think it's pretty good. I might try and actually start experimenting with that myself because, at least for me, when I learn stuff on the wards at work these days in the hospital, it's often very kind of serendipitous. It's not like, I'm deciding on a given day that I'm going to learn something. It's more that a patient happens to come in who's had, I don't know, an ectopic pregnancy or a heterotropic pregnancy or, anything interesting. I'm on obs and gynae at the moment. And so what I've been thinking is that Simon's method would be really good. Like, let's say on the 25th of February, I read up about ectopic pregnancy management. Then if there were a way that I could add it to my calendar so that I would read up on it a week later and it would remind me to look up ectopic pregnancy, and then a month later it would remind me to look up ectopic pregnancy, I think that would be a very effective way for me personally to sort of ad hoc use the power of spaced repetition and active recall to kind of retain memory of stuff that I've learned on the wards. Because I'll be honest, when I'm not in exam preparation mode, I don't really use a lot of these efficient study and learning techniques, even though I really should. And so I've been thinking for a while that, if only there was a way to remind myself to study stuff in a spaced repetition fashion. And I think I'm going to start using Simon Clark's method for that. So I'll see if I can build some kind of macro or shortcut on iOS or something that I just enter the subject once and then it automatically creates a calendar event to remind me in a week's time and in a month's time and in a year's time maybe to review that particular topic. So we'll see about that. But anyway, that was Simon Clark's Spaced Repetition Journal / Diary. I hope you found that useful. Let's now move on to the next video.